I know we've just moved into a new year, and we'd really like to leave the last one in the past, but we got to go back into the past to understand today's feast. We're going to go back about 1,600 years to the point when the controversies of the faith were the big controversies of the day. And people were talking about big theological issues while they were doing everyday stuff. Right? They say you couldn't go to buy grain in the marketplace in Greece without having to discuss the two natures of Jesus. Right? Was Jesus truly God and truly man? These were the sorts of things people gossiped about back then. Right? Because they are a big deal. Until we settle the big questions, we can't go on to the other questions. And if we don't know who we're worshiping, we're in real trouble. So they started to define dogmas in the early church. For the first councils of the church were dogmatic councils, and they were about settling these questions once and for all. Who is Jesus? Is Jesus truly God? Yes, we believe that. True God from true God. Right, consubstantial with the Father. All these things are in our creed because over the ages we've had to decide this is what we believe and this other thing is not. And then to go along with those doctrines about Jesus, we have to say things about Mary, right? Anything we say about Mary reflects what we believe about Jesus and vice versa. Because if we're going to talk about who Jesus and Mary are in relationship to one another, there are big implications, right? So the question of the day that our feast today is based on is, can we call Mary the mother of God? Right? God has no beginning or end. He's God. That's what makes him God. He is without source. He is the one who is. End of story. And yet, if we're going to talk about Jesus as one person, not a separate human person from his divine person, and we're calling Mary the mother of Jesus. We're sure of that one. That one's straight out of the scriptures. Can we, by extension, call Mary the mother of God? And in Greek, the word is theotokos, or sometimes you'll hear it said theotokos. The pronunciation doesn't matter. What matters is, can we say this phrase? Now, that's kind of been spoiled for you already because we have it all over in the liturgy, right? We always refer to Mary as mother of God these days. But back then, this was a big issue. So they're asking this question, and my favorite answer is the one that comes to us from Archbishop Fulton Sheen, because he puts it in simple terms that I think even a child can understand. When we're talking about the question of what Jesus is, there's two things. What is Jesus? Jesus is God, and Jesus is man. But who is Jesus? There's only one answer to that. There's only one person, Jesus, who is the Son of God and the Son of Mary. So if Jesus is only one person, and that person has one mother, then that mother is the mother of that person. End of story. Okay, so if Mary is definitively the mother of Jesus, the whole person Jesus who cannot be divided, and his divinity and his humanity are one thing now, right? One person, Jesus Christ. Inseparable. So then if we're going to say Mary is the mother of Jesus, we're not going to say that she's just the mother of his humanity. That would be separating the two. No, we're going to say she is the mother of Jesus. And since Jesus is God, we can say publicly, definitively, you have to believe this to be Catholic. Mary is the mother of God. Okay, so that's easy for them to decide when all the bishops get together in Ephesus. But how do you tell the world? How do you get this to be common knowledge? You make a feast day. You make a day like today, which is what we're celebrating today. And you put it at the head of the calendar because it's about something very important. And you might be saying, why does it matter what we call Mary? Because what we call Mary reflects on who Jesus is. And if we can say that Mary is the mother of God, Mary has one child. Who's that? Jesus. Jesus is God. Okay, so that's a lot of theology for 9 in the morning. Sorry to throw all that at you. But that's what we're here for. That's what this feast is about. So when we say in our creed, as we're about to in a moment, that Jesus was born of the Virgin Mary, right? Conceived by the Holy Spirit and born of the Virgin Mary. That is our definitive, public, eternal statement. This is the core of our faith. Jesus is God. The same child that Mary gave birth to and laid in the manger at Nazareth is God. The same one who says, "This is my body, which is given for you," at the altar is God. How is all of this possible? As confusing as it gets? Well, that's the easy one. He is God. He can be as confusing as he wants. And if it takes us 2,000 years or more to fully understand these mysteries, great. We're just scraping the surface of the depths of the mysteries of God. And when we come up with a better idea, we'll say that too. Right? For example, at the end of our prayers today, we're going to mention Mary as Mother of God and Mother of the Church. That was a proclamation of the Second Vatican Council only about 50 years ago. Right? So these are things that have taken us time to develop and understand and say, can we definitively say this? Is this truly what we believe? Let's be sure before we put it in our creed, before we put it in the Mass. We want to know this is what we believe. This is what we celebrate. That Mary, today we celebrate Mary as the Mother of God.